Mhm.
Please approve my request.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Okay.
Okay. So the we are starting with our asynchronous. So
You will explain that trigger handler class as well, right?
yes, I will. I will.
Yeah.
But I have the strategy with me, and we'll go accordingly to understand our asynchronous process.
Okay.
Okay. So the now you whenever you will be talking to someone and you will be the saying that yes, I may I know the asynchronous programming. So they will be having a discussion with you, and they may will show interest to know what is the asynchronous programming, what you know about asynchronous programming,
Mhm.
what the use cases you know about the asynchronous programming, why we use asynchronous programming, what is actually asynchronous programming and synchronous programming. Okay, so
Mhm.
just for our the understanding. So we have two types of programming.
Mhm.
One is synchronous and another one is asynchronous. Now, till now we have worked on the synchronous programming. That
Mhm.
means the as we updated some record, then the code which is satisfying the condition immediately execute and show us the desired result,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But in the asynchronous programming is not like this. Asynchronous programming will work when the system resources will be available.
Mhm.
Now I will explain you what is system resources. But this is not the kind of the programming that as you updated the record, the I mean the code will execute immediately and will show you the desired data. No. So generally, we use the asynchronous programming in a in a common language, in a layman language, when we need to execute large data, which
Mhm.
is not possible in
Mhm.
synchronous programming. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, in a in a SOQL can fetch.
By the way, is Apex similar to Java or no?
Apex is similar to Java, but Apex have some sort of the differences as compared to the Java, but it is similar to the Java.
Mhm.
So, for example, a SOQL can fetch
Mm.
50,000 of the records. Okay, but if we want to work with more than this limit of records,
Mm-hmm.
then so our answer will be
Mm-hmm.
use asynchronous programming.
Okay, clear.
Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
the another benefit is the in terms of the governor limit,
Mm-hmm.
asynchronous programming has
Mm-hmm.
higher governor limit as compared to
Mm-hmm.
synchronous.
When you say higher government limit, that means we don't hit the API, right?
No, API is a different thing. I will explain to you. I'm explaining to you.
Mm. Mm.
For example, in synchronous programming,
Mm-hmm.
in a single transaction, we can run our SQL
Mm-hmm.
100 times. Okay, but when our requirement is is not getting fulfilled by the 100 times, then we can go for the asynchronous programming. And in asynchronous programming, SQL runs 200 times in a single transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
so
asynchronous, it runs 100, 200 times. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just reading. Yeah.
So when you have to play with the larger data, which is not possible in the synchronous programming, when
Mm-hmm.
when you have to I mean have to work with a larger governor limit, so you have
Mm-hmm.
to go with the asynchronous programming. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now third is when you don't want to execute your code immediately
Mm-hmm.
in but want to execute when system resources will be available or at certain time. Example, when you want to execute your code, for example, 27th July 2020 at 9:45 a.m. So, you know, like you have written up a piece of code
Mm-hmm.
and you want to execute your code not immediately when you have updated the the some record, some data, but you want to execute your code at certain, the certain date and time which you have decided. For example, I have given you the you want to, the as the clock will,
Mm.
the reach at uh, the calendar date 27 July 2020, and the time will be 19:45 a.m. So your code, should execute. So that means,
So,
even, yeah.
so you mean here when you say when you don't want to execute your code immediately, but want to execute when system resources will be available. So that means like if I want like my code to run, let's say beginning of every month, for example.
Yes, so that is also possible. You can, you can, uh, this is, I was about to discuss when we were learning the asynchronous programming in depth, but
Mm,
answering your question, yes, you can, the schedule your class, your program on the weekly basis, on the monthly basis.
mm.
You can.
Okay.
Okay.
This is done with the asynchronous, right?
Yeah, this is only possible with the asynchronous.
Okay, it's
So
clear.
for example, you're not available. For example, you have, you wrote your code and you are now, you don't want to be, for example, just for example, uh, you wrote your code and you ordered someone that, okay, execute this code at this particular time. So this is,
Mm,
you are ordering the Salesforce that, okay, execute my code at this particular time. So Salesforce will, they will execute your code at the given time. It is time decided by you.
mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
The third thing is, this is another scenario when you need to call external services. So this is the, the one more scenario that when you can use the asynchronous programming. Okay. Now coming to the types of asynchronous.
Prashant, you're the best, I swear.
Thank you. Programming. So one is future method. Second one is you will Apex. Third is schedulable Apex.
Mhm.
And the fourth one is batch class. Okay. So now what is future method? So generally, the when we say a method, like, so what exactly comes in our mind is there will be something like this, right?
Yep.
So any normal method, you know, any normal method, we can make a future method, and by using just this annotation, that's a at the future. Now, as we, we are writing the at the future on the top of the any of the method, we have some, these points to remember. So the first point is future methods do not return anything. That means, you know, we are writing here a void. So void means it will not return anything. You know, sometimes you have seen that the in the programming, where for example, just for example, sometimes in the programming you have seen this kind of the the return statement after the the at the end of the method, before the the closing braces, uh, you have you might have seen the return statement, correct?
Yes, I saw this when you were explaining, correct.
Right. So our future method will not return anything, and the we use void for such which do not return anything. Void means that it will not return anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first thing is that future method do not return anything. Second, if it is a parameterized, then it will only take either primitive data type or collection of primitive data type. Now, what is the meaning of the parameter? Parameter means when we write a method inside this, we are trying to make it capable to capture the the value, some value here. For example, if you have seen, let's take example of a normal method I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So basically, type of asynchronous future executable Apex future method that's not returning anything, it's a parameterized. Then it will only take primitive data type or collect.
So any doubt?
No.
Okay,
And what do you mean by method parameterize? What do you mean if it's a parameterized then?
that is what I'm telling you. So
Mm,
at line 37 I have created a method, and in this I am writing it, just for example, I'm writing it integer I. So this means that my method is a parameterized method. Now just the compare the method at line number 31 and
mhm,
at line number 37 here. In this, the whatever you you are writing inside the brackets,
mhm.
like this is I'm writing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you are providing the data type, that what sort of the data, I mean what data type you are providing, and you are making it making it the method understand that you are going to take this form of data.
Mhm,
Okay. If somebody gives you the string form of data, then you will not take. Okay. You
mhm,
can only take integer form of the data.
mhm,
Okay. So this is the first method is a normal method. I mean the will not take any parameter. Okay. Here you are taking the parameterized, here you are giving the the integer type parameter. It's a parameterized. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So whenever there's anything between the two brackets, that means it's a parameter.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So when there is a parameter, that means this I should have a value, right? Like when you say public void method para integer I, that means that I should have a value.
For example, let's say the primary, purpose of the parameter is, let's say, you have a class, right? And in that class, uh, you have a method which is a parameter method. Now you are calling, the class from a different class, okay? And so you need to call a method as well. Now whatever you can just, the for now I will explain you in a deep. For now you can say you have a the when you want to uh, take the data from a, the different class, to execute our method, our purpose, right? So the parameter helps you. It is just like, the sending the child to, to take something from the neighbor family, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the parameters like this. Now what we can do is, uh, now go to the Google.
Do you,
Now the more about the, you can start from the, the class variables. Click on the class variables.
here?
Yes. Okay. And then the class methods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now when you scroll down, then you will be, the given a detail about the, the class, how we write the class, how we, the uh, define our method, what's the type of the method we have. Then you can, go to the uh, constructor.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to go to constructor?
Yes, after this then you constructor. So understand the constructor, right? And then you can go for the uh,
Access modifier.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, please approve my request. So, the by this you will be able to, to the topics which I have shared to you. By this you will be able to understand the OOPS concept. Okay, that what is the class, what is the method, what is the constructor, how we, the write the parameterized, non-parameterized, default parameterized methods, right?
Do you
Construct.
want me to have to read these for tomorrow? Like
Yes,
this stuff?
yes,
The
yes,
classes? Yep, okay,
yes.
I will.
Okay, and
This is very easy now. Uh, where is the, oh, okay, here. Okay, yep.
so now coming to, the primitive data type. So
Mm-hmm.
the I'm removing this example because you will get a better example in the document which I have sent to you. Okay. So the primitive data type means,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm saying that the primitive data type, that means the record ID. Okay. And collection of
Mm-hmm.
primitive data type, that means storing the record IDs into any of the form of collection. Okay, so collection we
Okay,
have, the collection we have the list set map. Okay,
okay.
so
If it's not parameterized, it will take only primitive. Um, primitive data type, record ID, and collection. Yep.
okay, now So far we understood that what is a feature method, okay, and what sort of the parameters the feature method take, okay. Now future method do not give any job ID, okay. That means the like for example whenever you execute any form of the asynchronous programming, you get the job ID, but feature method do not gives that. This this particular thing I will be explaining you in detail, uh,
Mhm.
and then you will be able to I will be showing you in the when we are writing the feature method, and then I will show you how.
Mhm.
Okay. Now the other thing is feature method don't.
When you say to not give job ID, what you're going to explain it, I know, so it's fine.
So the feature method don't allow to call another feature method. Okay, you can't call the feature method from a feature method.
Mhm.
And the future method is like for example, uh, it is best recommended if you are calling several services, then make it from single future method, because each future method add a queue. Okay, so this means what? Let's say the for example, just take an example. You know, you have seen the people standing in a queue, so they wait for their turn, right?
Yeah.
So same way the whenever you will be using the future method, the future method will make a queue. So for example, if you are using the feature method, and there is the you are using the the 4 5 feature method for a different purpose, so this they will also make a queue. So it's better to use single feature method, because it's the same thing when you are sending one person to take the tickets, movie tickets of the whole family. So it will be easy and less time consuming, because he will be single person, he will be going and will be taking the the movie tickets for everyone. In the same time, if you will send each and every family member of a to take the movie tickets, so the one person will take his own, then the second person standing behind him will take the the movie tickets of himself, then the third person, then the fourth person. So it will be time consuming. It's better to take the single person, to give this responsibility to single person, to bring the movie tickets for everyone.
Mhm.
Correct?
Future method don't give an ID. Future method do not allow to call a future method. If you're calling several, then make it something because each had a key. Okay. Yep, it's clear.
Okay. Now, it helps us in solving the mixed DML error. So basically, what is the this error is, we have, the two types of objects. So the one is the S object, standard and custom. The second one is global or setup. Okay. Now, the, like for example, the profile, user, permission set, all these, the objects are the global or a setup object. Okay. Now, when you, let's say, in a single method, when you are trying to perform DML on both type of objects, then DML error.
What is mixed DML error?
Yeah, that is what I'm telling you. So, in a single method, when you're trying to perform the DML on both type of the objects, then it gives a mixed DML error. Now, I will show you that, how it looks like, and what is the practical solution of this. But the solution, for now, the solution is you go for, you make your one DML operation inside the future method, and another one inside the either the future method or in the normal method. It's better, to take the global or setup, the object DML operation inside the future method.
Okay, but I'm confused. What do you mean by mixed DML error? You mean like doing insert and delete, for example, together?
Yes. So actually, the you have done the you have used the DMLs, right? Insert, update, delete, right?
Yeah,
And delete.
yeah.
Now, the for example, in a single method, just for example,
Mm-hmm.
in a single method, for you have the object, user. Okay. And you want to, some do some sort of the I mean, update the profile or something. So you will be using your the DML for the user object,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hello.
I
Yeah. So
I can hear you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
you will be, you will be using your DML operation for the user object. correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then the you have in the same method you have the some s object, for example the account, okay, and you are performing the DML on the account as well, okay.
So basically, in the same code or class, you are performing two DML for two different objects, right?
No, in a single method.
Okay.
See, this is a method, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the in such cases, the when you are performing the DML over the global or setup objects and the S object. So in such cases, the
Mm-hmm.
we get the mixed DML error.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the mixed DML error, and the we will do one example and we will see the how to solve the mixed DML error. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Yep. Leave the stuff so that I can.
Okay.
It's fine. You don't need to lead. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So let me write it down. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
so this is just an example. Okay, now what we can do is, so we spoke about the feature method, about the feature method, that feature method do not run anything. It takes the parameter that, the either the primitive data type or the collection of primitive data type. Feature method do not give any job ID. Feature method do not allow to call a feature method. That means you can't allow the feature method from a feature method. It is the the best recommended if you're calling the several external web services, then make a single make it single uh, from a single you can the call the all the external web services from a single feature method, because each feature method add a queue. Okay, it helps us solving the mixed daemon error, and the the maximum the feature method we can use in a single transaction is a 50. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't understand this one. So basically, when you say calling future method from a future method, that means including two future methods in the same one. Can you write like an example?
Let's take an example. This is one of my method. Okay,
Mm.
and so I'm telling you to calling a method from a method. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, so this class contain this method. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now I have the another method, and whatever maybe the operation I'm doing inside this method. Okay, but I'm calling this method inside the, or you can say from the mix DML example method.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Now this way you can you can call. So what will happen is this method will be executed, the all the lines will be performed, then after that your method will be called. As soon as your method will be called, your this method will be executed, and whatever the line
Mm-hmm.
of code you have written so in this method will execute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the calling of a method from a method. So
When do you usually call a method from a method?
I will explain you. I will show you the my code,
Yeah.
and then I will be
Yeah.
showing you.
Mm-hmm.
So the for example, uh,
Mm-hmm.
just for an example to understand, you can say, for example, that you have a the some scenario where you want to first calculate the the cost, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you have calculated the cost of a product, and then you have to the okay, take an example. Let's say that you are learning the asynchronous programming, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
there's one process, one method, you can say, is that I'm telling you, I'm teaching you, okay. Now second, the as soon as I will I will complete my teaching, you will be practicing. So this is the second process. So the same way you can say that this is the first method, a teaching, and as my teaching will get completed, your processing, your practicing method will execute. Okay.
Okay.
Practically I will show you. I will show you the the each and every example of this. Clear?
Yes, that's clear.
Okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
we will talk about our practical sessions. Okay. Now let's say the just for example we uh, okay. So okay, so this is the business. This is the the scenario that update the lead description and future method. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I will be creating one future method first.
Mm-hmm.
So here I am creating the parameter of type ID, which means that this is capable to to store the record ID. Okay, clear?
Okay. Oh, I have a question.
Hmm.
Before, like now, when we want to write the future method, that means an existing trigger will be in the system for lead already.
No, forget about that. See, just forget about everything now.
Okay.
Just the take it as it that you don't know anything now. You just you know the you are learning the asynchronous programming. We will go example by example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So the this is the parameter, and this parameter when I'm defining the type, that is the ID. That means will be capable to store the the any of the record ID, and this is the variable. What else you can do is, if you want to make it collection,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so now it can take the record IDs in a parameter. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you want to the update the leads description, and you want to the write your logic so that the you can execute the lead description. And I'm putting the condition here. Mm, okay, so now the first thing what we can do is we can sorry. Okay, so what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing is I will be taking the the all the record IDs of a lead, and whatever the let's say 1 2 3 4 5, how many, I mean the whatever the number of the record IDs I will get in a list, I am the with the SQL query, I am taking the as object out, and I'm storing into the list which I have created at line number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
What did you say equal and the 2 points are? It's
this is the when you fetch the value from the variable.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
now after this I am running a loop, and I have my all the the my as object inside this.
We said it's not recommended to have for loop and SQL in the same one and the same like together, right? Or no?
I'm sorry, what?
Did we say before we cannot have SQL and for loop like if we have DML and for loop together in the same
Are you trying to
I
say that
forgot.
we can't use the for loop and the DML in a same method?
Yeah, is it correct?
No, no, no. The point is that you can't use the SOQL and DML inside the for loop.
Okay, yeah, okay. Can
Okay.
you write it down for me here? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't use SOQL and DML
Mhm.
inside for loop. Okay. Now I will first check the size. If I have some data, then only my operation should maybe perform. Otherwise,
Mhm.
it should not.
Okay. So when we say if lead dot size greater than 0, that means the the amount of leads in the system are greater than 0, correct?
Yes, we have something in the in the this list, and
Mhm.
then only the loop should begin. If we have nothing, it's a blank. Then why we should
What is why leads IDs for leads IDs?
where in which line?
That's line number 12. Leads IDs. Why do you have IDES?
It's a you forget about the the concept when we are writing about the triggers, and we create the
Oh, you're
variable,
clear. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So same thing, no different.
Okay.
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 Now clear. Now we will create one more list,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we will store it into the collection. Now we have seen that, okay, this is our for loop. We are coming out, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
we are also coming out from this if block. Now again, as a practice, we will first the check the size, and if this particular list has some data, then only we will run our DML update.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Now
Okay.
what we'll do is we will go into our anonymous code block. Okay. Now, for example, we are just putting the the and now we will have all the data inside the fetch lead, correct? I mean all the ID in the fetch lead. So please, it's best to make it a string, because we are storing the sorry, because we are storing the ID, correct? So that's why I have changed the type of the list as a string. You can also write it down as a ID. Okay. Now I will be calling my okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's uh, enable our debugs. Okay. So we have. So let's edit this. Okay. Now let's go and in the developer console and click on execute. Illegal assignment from list lead to list string line 2. Okay. So this is the list string fetch new list string. Okay. Fetch lead is this from lead. Okay. So okay, just a minute.
Do you want a oh, it's
After sometimes the I think I lose my control. Okay, so we will be seeing the example to call the future method from a trigger. That how
yeah.
we call this method. Okay, so we need to update the lead description future method when description is not blank. So we have the trigger. Okay, and we have given the condition here. The trigger dot is executing and trigger dot is before and trigger dot is update. Now in our future method, what we have to pass? We have to pass the ID, correct? Right?
Yes.
So we will see that this is the same thing we may always used to do in our trigger, correct?
Yes, correct. So basically now you are writing a future trigger.
No, no, this is a trigger, and from this trigger, I will be calling my future method.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, this I will be storing. I will be creating here a list of type ID, and I will be storing the ID. I will explain you if you have any confusion. I will explain you what I'm doing is.
Mhm.
So now from here, I will call my future method. So basically, I should write it down here. Okay, so just understand this thing first and let me know wherever you have doubt.
Okay, so it's clear. So what I will do tomorrow, I will I will go through it line by line because it's weekend tomorrow. I'm home, so I'll go line by line and I will do it by myself.
But understand, tell me if you have any doubt. I mean, any doubt in this trigger. So first, what we are doing is we have written a the trigger with the name trigger to call future on lead. Okay, and this is we are the working on our updation of any
Mm-hmm.
lead. So
Yeah.
we have the given the condition. Now just one thing which you have to take care of, that is the condition. We have the first condition is trigger dot is executing and trigger dot is before and is update. So
Mm-hmm.
inside this condition is ending at line number 13. So the as we write our trigger, the trigger dot new, and we have checked that the description is updating. Okay, or we
Yeah.
can we can make it like here phone or whichever field you want to. Okay, to check whether this particular the field has been updated or not. Okay, now you are storing this into a list which I have created at line number 2. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now
Yeah.
again we have checked that whether we have some data or not in this particular list. If we have some data, then only we will be calling, because this is our parameterized method. Future method is
Mm-hmm.
a parameter. It is taking a parameter, correct?
Yeah.
So the it is taking the ID and we are supplying
Mm-hmm.
here. We are passing the ID.
Okay.
Okay. Now one more thing. This is the calling static future method.
Mm-hmm.
See here we have the static type. Okay. If
Mm-hmm.
we will not write the static, we will simply write public void update lead future and this thing. Okay, we will remove the
Okay.
static. Then what we will do?
Okay.
Then first This is our class, correct?
Yeah.
We will create object of this, and from this we will call our method, and we will pass our value here. Clear? So
Yep,
because
that's clear.
in the in the code you can find I mean you can see any the type of the static or non-static type of the method, and the calling of the static or non-static type of method is a little bit different. So I have given you the example here.
Okay, great.
Okay, now what we will be doing now, you will do the testing on my do one thing. Now go to the Salesforce UI and choose any existing lead, and we have the phone, so update the phone, update by future method. Right now go to the developer console and open the logs. Now see, you are specifically, okay, you are specifically, no, wait, I'm telling you, okay, keep it open, keep it open. Now see, you are specifically getting the two logs, okay, and every time you will be the running any of the asynchronous type of the programming, you will be getting the operation name, future method, schedule apex, okay, you will get the
Okay.
specific name, and by this only you will be able to identify that okay, my future method successfully run.
Yep.
Okay, now go to Salesforce UI, click on setup, and write apex space jobs. So the what is the time right now?
10:54.
Okay, and see the first example future,
Yeah, this is the one which is 8 o'clock, which is, it makes sense. Yes.
right? So now just have a look. Example future. Go to the Salesforce UI, or you do one thing. Wait. Click on this example future, right? This is the actually the future method. Sorry, future class we have, on which we
Yeah.
have had a discussion. So you can see your the your the asynchronous programming from the Apex job as well. The status of this, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I just need to review it and do it by myself. It will be easier.
Okay.